Welcome back to Dad Space. It's Dave with you. I'm glad to be back with you yet again. Episode 115. We're up in the hundreds, people. It's exciting, right? 115 episodes of Dad Space. Have you listened to all 115 episodes? I'm looking at you. Have you listened to them all? If you haven't, and this is your first time at Dad Space, you're like, hey, I like the music, Dave. So do I. That's why I picked it, and I'm glad you like it as well. This is the podcast for dads by dads, and we're here to share all dad stories, and we want to create a space for you. If you've ever felt like there's nobody here for you as a dad, you're wrong, and we're going to prove it to you. Welcome to Dad Space. Glad to have you here. So I want to talk today with you and share some thoughts around how we can extend grace to others around us by treating everyone like a learner on life's highway. There's a story behind all of this, and I want you to think about this as maybe you're driving. Please, both hands on the wheel, everyone. As you listen to the podcast, thank you for bringing me along in the car. I promise to be a good companion, not change the station on you, and I will help you direct and get you there on safely. I'll be your co-pilot here in the car as we travel. And as you drive around in the road and you kind of go around and see, you're going to see things on the back of vehicles, like a school bus that says, this vehicle stops at all railway crossings. Okay, that's a sign. So as you know, you're getting close to a railway crossing, this bus is going to stop. You know that because there's a sticker on the back of the bus. You have a fire truck in front of you. What does it say? Keep back so many feet or meters from you, right? Depending on where you are in the world. So you know to give them some space. It's a fire truck. You see all different types of things on vehicles as notifications to you about the intentions possibly of the driver. This vehicle makes a lot of stops. All these are different things that are going to give you the pre-knowledge that you need to give this vehicle in front of you some space or grace or something. A great example of this would be a driving education car where kids or adults or whoever are learning how to drive, and they've hired this company and they are behind the wheel. Next to them is an experienced driver teaching them in the real world how to drive a car. And they have warning signs, they have big signs on top. They have stickers on the back of the car or something that says, listen, everybody, we're going to make mistakes here. You need to be aware of this right from the beginning, that at some point there may be a mistake. We are going to do something wrong. And you need to give us some space. So back up, back away. And when we make a mistake, don't be like leaning on your horn. Don't be all freaking out and flipping people off. And this person's learning. And in that moment when you're sitting behind that car and you see it's all decked out with a student driver, there's a little piece of you that goes, okay, all right, well, I anticipate the opportunity that's going to happen, that there may be a situation that's going to arise where I'm going to have to be more forgiving in the moment as this person learns how to do the thing. You were once in that seat, even though you've been driving for years now, you were that person. So you know what it's like to have somebody right on the back end of your car or somebody kind of coming up behind you really quickly and you're like, oh my gosh. You have to remember this. You were there once. So stop it. If you're that person who just treats people terribly on the road, please stop. Give people some space. Give them some grace. That's a student driver in front of you. They need your grace as they learn how to navigate all of these crazy laws around driving and what is a yellow light? What's a red light? What's a green light? What's yield? What's an on-ramp onto the highway? How do you get off a highway? What's a parallel parking? It's going to take me 40 times to get into this spot. You need to give us some grace as a student driver. And you know what I'm thinking? When I see all these warning labels about stopping at all railway crossings or back out, give me distance, don't be so close to the back of this fire truck, or this vehicle stops multiple times. I'm a student driver. Those are all labels that make us aware that someone around us needs a little bit of space. They need a little bit of grace. And I wish there was a way as human beings, similar to a NASCAR driver that has all these labels and logos plastered all over their gear that show you who paid for them to be there. All those stickers and labels and all that logos that they have that they're wearing. I wish there was a way as human beings that we could have these logos and signs and stickers that said stuff like, I'm a single mom and I'm exhausted. I'm a dad who has no idea what I'm doing. I'm a husband that's not treating my wife right. I just lost my job. I'm struggling to connect with my kids. A sticker that says, I don't feel like I'm good enough to be a dad. A sticker that said, I just lost my parent. Imagine being impatient in line at a store or a restaurant, and the person in front of you, their sticker said, my son just got diagnosed with cancer. Another sticker on someone in front of you that said, I just found out that my illness is terminal. I'm asking you in that moment, would you be rude to that person? Would you be less patient with them because they are not hurrying up? Or if a sticker said on their shirt, I just experienced a car accident and I'm freaking out. And that was the sticker on their shirt. And you saw them at your job and you pass them in the hallway and they don't say, hi, Dave. Hi, Steve. Like they normally do. They just walked right past you. You're like, how rude. They didn't even acknowledge me. Oh my gosh. What if their sticker said, I just experienced the worst day of my life. I just lost my job. I just got kicked out of my house. I just went bankrupt. Someone just stole my purse out of my car. What if we had stickers on us that identified to the world that we're not doing okay right now? Would you, in that moment, give that person more grace? Would that be the student driver sticker in front of you that goes, hang on, okay, I'm going to back off a little bit and give this person some space? Wouldn't it be a better world if we could tell people by some kind of sticker or logo or identifier that things aren't going good right now? And I need you to back it up and give me a break. Hang on. Don't be short with me. Don't treat me like that. If you knew what I was dealing with in the moment, if you knew I was a student driver, you wouldn't judge me for my driving. If you knew that I had a bus full of children and I want to make sure I get them home safe, so I'm stopping at every railway crossing because it's the law, that you're not going to be honking at me for slowing down and turning the lights on and stopping. I know it's inconvenient, and I know that we can both see there's no train coming, but the law states I have to do this, and that's why there's a sticker on the back of this big bus in front of you. If we could just have stickers or identifiers that said, hey, give me some space right now. I need you to just understand that things aren't going well in the moment, and I need you to be full of grace for me in front of you. So just imagine you're driving down this busy street and you spot a car with student driver plastered on all its sides. What is your immediate reaction? Most of us, as I've mentioned, are instinctively going to become more patient. We're going to give that car more space and perhaps even silently cheer on that novice driver. We understand that the person is learning and we need to adjust our expectations of their abilities and behavior accordingly. Now, what if we applied this same mindset to everyone we encounter in our daily lives? What is your invisible student driver sign today? What has been your invisible student driver sign in the past? What do people not know about you that if they did, they would treat you differently? The truth is, many people around us are navigating some real, intense personal struggles and challenges that we know nothing about at all. And these hidden battles could be anything from mental health issues, financial stress, relationship problems. Maybe they have some bad health news. And unlike the student driver's car, there's no visible sign alerting us of this situation and what they're going through. So how do we create space for people who are silently struggling? Just as we give student drivers extra room on the road, we can create space for those who might be silently hurting. So here's 4 ways we can do it. Ready? Number 1, practice patience. We need to practice patience with the people around us. When someone seems short-tempered or distracted, consider in the moment that they might be dealing with some unseen difficulties that doesn't require your judgment here in the moment. You need to back off, give them some space, and silently cheer them on, or do something kind for them in that moment instead of defaulting to judgment. Practice patience when you come across someone who may be silently struggling. It might be happening in your own home, your kids, your partner, yourself. And then number 2 is you need to offer kindness. Being kind in the moment when someone around you may or may not be struggling. A simple smile, a genuine, hi, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? I've been thinking about you lately. I hope you're okay. Offering kindness can make a world of difference to someone who's struggling when we can't read the signs physically and see what's happening. There's no student driver sign for this person. Be kind. And then number 3 is just withhold your judgment. How quick we are in this culture today to judge. Right? You stand in line at a grocery store, you watch other people drive and navigate, and you quickly default to judgment. Oh my gosh, this person, you wouldn't believe what happened on the way to work today, blah, 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 blah. You share the story about how this person annoyed you, disappointed you, did something ridiculous. How dare they? Without knowing their sticker, without knowing their student driver sign. Right? You've done this. I know you've done this. I've done it. We quickly default to judgment. Before jumping to conclusions about someone's behavior, remember that there might be more to their story than what you can see in the present moment. Hold back on judging the people around you. Give them some space, even when you can't see their sign. And then lastly, number 4 is to actively listen. In that moment when someone actually reaches out to you and opens up to you, give them your full attention. Put your phone away. Get rid of the distractions. Look them in the eyes. And without trying to fix their problems, just listen. Don't listen to solve, listen to hear. You're not there to fix it. And as Coldplay says, we're here to fix you. No, we're here to listen, create space, and let somebody be heard. Sometimes people just need to be heard. They're really not looking for you to give them the solution. Everyone's quick to give solutions. Very little people in this world are here to listen actively and create a safe place for people to unpack and talk out what they're dealing with in the moment. Create safe place for silent struggles by practicing patience, offering kindness, withholding your judgment, and actively listening. There's power in grace. There's power in grace that's demonstrated in our world. When we extend grace to others, this means showing kindness and understanding, even when it's not necessarily deserved. There are people who are going to make you quite angry by treating everyone as if they were wearing invisible student driver signs. We create a more compassionate and supportive environment for everyone. Remember, just as a student driver eventually becomes a confident motorist like you, people are facing challenges. They can actually overcome them over a period of time. And with support and understanding, those challenges can become their strengths, and then they can teach others. As we kind of wrap up here, as we close off my thoughts, a quick action item idea for you. I want you, as a dad, as a parent, to commit to treating everyone, including your kids, your partner, yourself, with the same patience and understanding you would offer to a student driver in traffic in front of you right now, where you don't ride right up on their bumper, and you don't try to push them through the lights, and you don't honk your horn in anger and start hitting your steering wheel and swearing at them, right? You just know they're a student driver, and you're going to be a little more cautious and patient. Recognize that that person in front of you, or in your space right now, that they may be silently navigating a personal challenge that you personally have never experienced, or may never experience, or would be crippled by. Yet here they are, doing the thing, working, going to work, standing in line at a restaurant, pumping their gas, struggling beyond struggles. And we are so quick to judge, we're so quick to ignore, we're so quick to cast judgment that we miss an opportunity to be a good human. What sparked this whole episode, Dave? Simple. It's actually the first time I've talked about this on a podcast, so I'll try to get through it. When I record my podcast here in my house, I have two dogs. Burton, who's a Jack Russell Beagle combo. He's an old dog. He loves sleeping. He's a great dog. I've had him for a long time. Him and I are really close. The second dog, his name is Duke. Now, Duke is a purebred German Shepherd. The most gorgeous face you'd ever see. Duke is my shadow. If I get up and leave this room, he will follow me to the next room. He'll lay down. As soon as I stand up, he stands up. And wherever I go, he's there. When I go to bed, he's right beside me. When I get up, he's right beside me. Everywhere I go. If I go into the washroom and shut the door, he lays down at the foot of the door. Everywhere I go, this dog goes. Okay. German Shepherds are notoriously have bad back hips. And they go. And that's something they're known for. And it's a sad thing because this is a beautiful animal and smartest animal I've ever met. We taught Duke how to recycle. Duke can take a can, put it in the recycle bin, and then gets a treat. Smart dog. So smart. It's intimidating how smart he is. I record in the basement of my house, and I have a long stairwell to get down to the basement. It's carpeted, but it's a lot of steps. And as Duke's back hind legs have not been serving him well in the past few months, where he used to come down here with me, beside me as I record, and sleep at my feet, he's not able to get down here as well, and hasn't been downstairs in like a month or two. Duke has been losing weight recently. Duke has been not eating as much. His legs are really bad, where he's kind of dragging himself a little bit, and we have to help and support him to get outside and all that. I shut the door to my recording space because at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, when I'm usually recording, the mailman comes and The delivery persons will come and packages will arrive and the dogs will bark when they see them. And I try to reduce that in the podcast so you're not hearing all these barking noises. And occasionally you might hear the occasional bark in the background on previous episodes. So Duke doesn't come downstairs because he can't navigate steps. And he usually sleeps upstairs now by the front door. And yeah, that's where he sleeps. So this week, I go to refresh my copy. Now the door's shut outside my space. I open the door, and Duke's laying there. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, sorry, hey buddy, how's it going? I step over him, and as I'm mid-step over Duke, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't move. I look at his chest. There's no movement on his chest. His tongue is sticking out. And he's not moving. I'm like, hey, buddy, what's going on? Let's, hey, are you all right? What's happened? Duke. I reach down, I touch him on the head. His ears are cold, where they're normally warm. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm home by myself. My wife's at work. We're empty nesters. There's no one else here. It's just me. And Duke. And Burton. So Burton's upstairs, my Jack Russell, and Duke is now laying across the doorway to the space I'm in. Remember, Duke has to be where I am, right? I bend down, I touch Duke, and he's cold. Duke's gone. Duke has now passed. And in this moment, a sea of emotions, right? Duke has died, and not only did he die, he made his way to me so that he could be close to me in his last few minutes. Where he couldn't navigate the stairs before, every ounce of his strength in his body, he knew he had to make it his way to me. He had to get to me as his final, last task. And he did it. He did the impossible. He navigated stairs when he couldn't do it to be with me. So I knelt on the floor with him for a while. And then Practical Dave gets these thoughts come in my head. I got to do something. I gotta move him. I got to get him out of here. So I get on the phone. I call my wife. She calls the kids. Everyone's freaking out. It's a big thing. I got to get Duke upstairs by myself. This is a 112-pound dog. I'm struggling with losing my best friend in the moment. The kids come over. Two of the three kids come over. We have our moments with him. And it's emotional. It's gut-wrenching. It's painful to lose a pet. This dog has been there with our kids as they've grown up. This dog has been the confidant that listens when the kids struggle with being bullied at school. This is the dog that offers safety and security to kids who've been treated horribly by the school system and by their classmates and beat up after school. This was the safe space, having this big, huge, gentle giant in our house. This dog means more to these kids than anything else. And now he's gone. We eventually get to the part where we have to bring the dog to our local shelter, Humane Society, to have them take care of the body. So we get him out to our pickup truck and we put him in the back, and my youngest son jumps in the cab with me, and the two of us drive Duke to his final location. Going back to the student driver thing for a moment. I wish in this moment I had a sticker for the back of my truck that said, I just lost my best friend. I just lost the dog that has been my confidant, my shadow. My shadow's gone. And I need you to back the heck up. You need to give me some space, because I'm not thinking about my driving skills right now. I think I went through a couple of yellow lights that were probably more red than yellow. I probably drove slower than normal because I have the body of my dog in the back of my truck and I don't want to bounce him around. I'm trying to honor him. It's kind of my funeral procession moment that you'd see for humans. I know, Dave. Yeah, but this dog means a lot to me. I'm trying to be dignified and bring him to his final space. And I saw people upset with me. I had cars right on the back of my vehicle. I did, again, go through yellow lights a little bit. I could have stopped quickly and been safe. But in the moment, all I could think about was, I have 3 kids that are upset. My wife is crying. I'm devastated. I'm the one who had to deal with this death. There is nobody here for me. Going back to the beginning of why this podcast exists, Dave, there's no one here for you, is what I heard when my youngest was born. If you pass out in this delivery room, there's no one here from you. Ha ha, laugh, laugh, joke, joke. Break the ice, the doctor was trying to do. But in that moment, there was no one there for me. As a new dad, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. There was no one here for me to get Duke out of the basement up to the main floor of the house. Just me. And as I drove to the other side of town, it felt like eternity. Yet it felt like a few seconds. As I backed him up to the door, and the kind people there helped get the dog out. They asked me to leave the room as they did what they have to do. I know that I delivered Duke to his final spot, and I did my best. But in that moment, a piece of me stayed with him there, and I don't think I'll get that back. And I come home now and wear a big wagging tail and a gorgeous German Shepherd face greeted me every day for the last 10, 11 plus years. I have an empty dish of half-eaten food from Duke. I have his leash, his collar, that soccer ball that he ripped to shreds and broke and popped, that he would shake in his mouth, and it would hit him in the sides of the face. I have the recycle bin that I need to empty because it's recycling tomorrow. And Duke put the can in the recycle bin that I'm taking to the curb tomorrow. It's going to take a while to work through this. So my sticker right now is, there's no one here for me. I've lost my best friend. And I need some space. So before you judge me on whatever you feel like it's worth judging me on, I'm asking for space. And that's my sticker. That's my sign. That's my student driver sign right now. And you listening to this, you might have a completely different experience than me. But the idea that, oh, if people knew that I was a student driver right now and whatever's happening in my life, maybe they would just back up a little bit and give me a little more space. So if you need this in your life, then I want you to do this for others. Do this for others while you're waiting for this to be done for you. The next time you get behind that student driver car, the next time you get behind that fire truck, that city bus, the school bus, that UPS driver, Purolator, or delivery driver, whenever you see that next message on the back of a vehicle, that you realize that you also are wearing a student driver sign or something else like it. And when you see that, I hope you remember this episode. I hope you remember Duke. And I hope you remember to give grace to people, even if you don't feel like they deserve it, because they probably do deserve it. As always, thank you so much for listening to Dad Space. Hoping you have a great week this week. Thinking of you. And if you ever just want to chat to another dad, you can find all my information at dadspace.ca. There's a little speak pipe thing. You can leave me a voice message. You can send me an email. If you're a dad out there and you're like, I wish I could talk to Dave, please, I'd love to hear from you. Any chance I get to talk to somebody who listens to the show is a valuable time for me. So I'd love to hear from you. Dadspace.ca. Don't forget, give people some space this week. Give yourself some space. You got this. Take care, dads. Hey, thanks for listening to Dad Space. Thanks for hanging out to the end of the podcast. That's a great sign to wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, fill in the blank, that this was a good podcast to send people to. So simply by listening to this point of the podcast, you're helping the show grow. So good on you. Thanks for helping us grow Dad Space. If you want to help us fill our cups over at Dad Space, head over to dadspace.ca. Dadspace.ca, simple website, right? Dadspace.ca. You can fill up our coffee cup, which helps us then to keep moving forward with the podcast and use our Buy Me a Coffee link over at dadspace.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for coming back. And thank you for sharing. Because the more dads we can help, the better. We're all here to help each other grow in community. That's what it's all about. And without you, podcast is pointless. There's no reason to do any of this. So you being here means everything. See you at dadspace.ca. Take care.